Hello, Homeworthy. I'm Sue, inviting you into my art flat in East London. Let's go in. You're going to have a very good time.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Be sure to visit our website, homeworthy.com, to discover amazing furniture, art, accessories, and more, all handpicked by our editors to help transform your house into a home. All of the items are inspired by the episodes you see here on Homeworthy. Enjoy!
I am Sue Kreitzman. I am an artist and I live in an art flat. The art flat is in the East End of London, which is an incredibly artistic, diverse, exciting place. And inside my flat, there's color, there's art, there are collections. It's like the inside of my brain. And the inside of my brain is a very interesting place. And that's what home is, that's where I am. So East End of London, lots of art, lots of excitement, and it's my nest. And the best thing about the community, this part of the East End, is that it is extremely diverse. And because I grew up in New York City, in Manhattan, but all the way uptown Manhattan, in between the George Washington Bridge and the Bronx, that was very diverse. So I feel quite at home here. And I live in a housing estate. I have a double ex-council flat. So I own the flat. And the estate itself is like a park. So we're covered by greenery. We do not have traffic in front of us. It's unbelievably quiet. We have a lot of foxes in the area, which is great. When I come home late at night, there are no people to bother me, but the foxes come and they say, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And I have to say to the foxes, "Honey, I belong here, you belong here, we coexist, we're not going to bother each other." And there are a lot of artists in the London East End. I think we become artists because it's in the drinking water. It's just, as soon as you live here, you want to make art. You want to collect found objects. You want to paint on walls. We have the best street art of any place else. I am so chauvinistic about this area. I say, eat your heart out, Bushwick. We've got the best street art. Absolutely fantastic. So I'm very, very pleased. And because it's my very own flat, I can do anything I want to it. I can paint it crazy colors. I do paint it crazy colors. I can hang things everywhere. I do hang things everywhere. I am surrounded by art and I am surrounded by color. Welcome, we're in my hallway. The hallways are really, really important. And as you can see, I have many of my collections, work by artists that I adore, hanging on the wall. And neck shrines. There are neck shrines everywhere. I am very, very, very fascinated by mermaids and by Medusa. So I have mermaids here. This is the latest one. It still smells a little bit like glue. Mermaid tails and a mermaid and all her decorations. And I have Medusa. I think Medusa got very bad press. So we have Medusa, we have mermaids, more neck shrines. I tell you, it's an addiction. I can't stop making neck shrines. I adore Mexico and Native American art. So this one has a Navajo dolly made by the Navajos and two Mexican Frida Kahlos. I wear these things all the time. There's nothing that I won't wear around my neck as long as it's colorful and beautiful and has a story. So here we have more. We have even more. I have a little devil collection because I'm fascinated of the idea of actually putting a face to evil. Humanity is transcendently beautiful, but also can be very evil. And the devil is the face of evil. And in Mexico, they have a very playful attitude toward the devil. I have a lot of Mexican folk art. So hello there. They're safe, they behave, they have a rule. When they're in my house, they have to behave. So I have this lovely devil collection, and all the sculptures, some of this, I make many, many sculptures, but some of my sculptures are here as well. So we could sit in here all day. It's very, very fascinating. I even have a little sock monkey. So yes, this is a very enjoyable place. How do I hang my things? That's a big question. I have the most wonderful assistant who loves the art as much as I do, and she's very good at finding a place for it. And we try to keep things of one type all together. It's not always easy. So we have, actually there's no rhyme or reason. Sometimes we manage the ones that are done with ethnic dolls will be all together, the Native American sort of together, the devil collection is, we don't want the devils in any other part of the house. They stay in their corner. They're not allowed to be anywhere else. I have paintings by friends, and this is, some of these are by a guy named Joe Gagliano, others are by Julia Ceci. But there's stuff all over the place. So all I can say is, as far as curating this place, we do the best we can. That's all I can say. Yeah, well, it's a complicated situation because my husband is a scientist and I am an artist. And when we moved here 40 years ago, my son was 11. He's now in his 50s. How did that happen? Time passes. So we lived in a big, shabby old house that I found in Cambridgeshire. It's in the countryside because we couldn't afford anything actually in Cambridge. And my hubby still lives there. But I realized, first of all, when I was in the food business, I was writing cookbooks. I was cooking on the BBC. I was cooking on ITV. I was cooking on all the channels regularly. And my publishers were here, and my editors were here, and my agent was here. So I needed a place in London. And I was lucky enough to find this place way back when these places were affordable. So hubby is still in Cambridgeshire. He's still in that wonderful old house, which he loves, and we both love. So every once in a while, I go spend a week with him, or he comes and spends a weekend with me. So we divide our time. When my son was growing up, I stayed home. Well, I was never home because I was always taking a train here, publicizing a book there. But I was there for him growing up. Once he went to university and he was on his own, I realized I could live in London, and I did. So I divide my time, and he divides his time a little bit. But here in my art flat in the East End, this is where my soul is. Of course, I love my husband, so a little bit of my soul is there as well. But I do spend most of my time and all my work time making art and making connections and curating art exhibitions. That all happens here in London. So it's a good life because I have the best of both. And I've been married, okay, hold your horses, put on your seatbelt. I've been married for 63 years, something like that. It's in the 60s. I got married in 1962, and we're now in 2023. Somebody can do the math for me. So it's 60 plus years I've been married. And at this point, we get along extremely well because we're not in each other's face all the time. And we're both very obsessive people. He's a scientist, I'm an artist. He can do his thing, I can do my thing, and then when we spend our time together, we share a love of music and other things, and then we just are shared interests. So I recommend it to anybody who can manage that. You don't have to be together all the time, and you can have a very strong marriage. So anyway, you didn't really need marriage advice, but I thought I'd just put that in here. Here we are in the sitting room. This is where I drink my coffee, I look at all my stuff, I do my reading, and it's a very happy place. So my chair and my assistant's chair, and still lots of neck shrines, not all, I can't say all because I have hundreds upon hundreds, but I have 3 embellished paintings here, very big ones, 2 Medusas and 1 night character. And you can see I use a lot of buttons, and I use a lot of found objects on my paintings. And I use found wood. So when I find these big pieces of wood, I'm very, very happy. And we have comfy chairs. The chairs have to be comfy. This is a kind of Well, it's an African piece. It's not a very fine piece, but for me, it's fantastic. And she's very happy to wear neck shrines and headpieces. So she's always dressed up. And I have a whole collection of goddesses here on a coffee table that I painted. And they were a collaboration with a friend of mine named John William. We worked on this for almost a year and had a really good time. So they always stay together. And in here, I have some of my anthropomorphic memory jugs. They're sculptures made with found objects. They tell stories, and they each have a face. So there's one that tells the story of Disney princesses. There's one that tells the story of Carmen Miranda. The top shelf has retold fairy tales, what really happens in fairy tales, which is not what you read in the denatured fairy tale books. Behind me, I'm going to turn around. These are portraits of me, all painted by beloved friends of mine. The one in the middle was painted by Diane Goldie, Julia Cece, Joe Gagliano, Angela Rogers, people I know and love who have decided to paint me. Also, there are many of those up here, each painted by a different friend, and each one quite different, even though they are me. Very exciting. She's actually in charge of the house. This is an ecoy head. Very, very, very precious object to me. I call her Madam Hairdo. And I've been married for 60 plus years, but for our 40th anniversary, my husband bought that for me because he knows how much I love these ecoy heads with the hair. Very powerful, benign, protective piece. And she's wearing a neck shrine about Josephine Baker, the wonderful African-American dancer who went to fame and fortune in Paris. She had a bit of a complicated life, but she's one of my great heroines. I mean, what can I say? So there's a Josephine Baker neck shrine. This was actually made by a friend of mine named Amanda Keynes. And my husband, who bought this big piece for me, he said, shouldn't she just stay natural without anything added? We'll take away the Josephine Baker neck shrine. I said, honey, you take it from her. She's going to get very angry. She really likes it. So here we have the ecoy head, and we have Josephine Baker, and they make me very happy, and they rule this room. I also went through I don't know why, I went through a chandelier phase, and I made probably a half a dozen chandeliers. So there's one here. It's quite ornate. It has a lot of mermaids, because I'm also fascinated by mermaids. And there's another one in the other corner that's even more ornate with a lot of mermaids. And when we go into the next room, you'll see my Barbie chandeliers, because old Barbies are everywhere in the charity shop and the thrift shops. All these busts up here have work by the wonderful young people I mentor. In the middle, that piece is by me, and it's called Frida Kahlo Ascends to Heaven, accompanied by angel mermaids. And that's that one in the middle. We have two tables that I painted with nail polish, a long time ago. Portrait by Diane Goldie, as I said. It's a very comforting room because it's all about love. And it's all about making art with found objects, and it's all about the people I know and adore in my life. So that is the sitting room. I'm going to move from the sitting room into the gallery room, which is pretty exciting. And as we walk through the doorway, I have made a partial curtain out of some of my kimonas. I am just as obsessed with my kimonas, I'm wearing one, as I am with neck shrines, and I've made so many over the years. So I have some of them, because they're examples of my process and my art, I have some of them hanging here in the entrance to the gallery room. And you can see all the wonderful colors. It's all cultural mashup. I mash up things from different cultures, because that's what diversity, that's what love, that's what humanity should be about. So here I have my kimonas, and we're going to walk through the kimono curtain. into the gallery room. Everything I have is either made by me or made by the people that I mentor or somebody I love or is part of my very, very, very important to me folk art collection. So in answer to your question, no, it's not one in, one out. It's one in and another one in and another one in. And I have a fabulous assistant, Hannah, who somehow manages to make things work. So sometimes we'll have a rehang, move things around a little bit. I actually built a museum in my back garden. We're going to go look at that in a little while. And that has a lot of stuff in it too. So we always manage to find room. Everything I have is important. So we do not do one in, one out. The very idea. Every once in a while I have a little clean out if there's some junk, because I have all the materials that I use for my art. And sometimes I think, well, probably I'm not going to need this. It's always a mistake, because you might need it even 20 years from now. It's exactly the right thing. But sometimes I do. And I never throw things away. I have young artists come in and see if there's anything they can use. So everything is so important. Stuff. I don't understand minimalism. What's wrong with those people? How do they live? How do they survive? Especially if it's all neutrals. Beige, gray, scares the living daylights out of me. Why does somebody want to live that way? And I have a motto, because I dress in a very colorful way all the time, all the time. Don't wear beige. It might kill you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. We are now in the gallery room. This is not a sitting room. The only people who sit in here are my mannequins. Most of them are standing. Some of them sit. I have a mob of them. They're all dressed. I have dressed them. They're all essentially sculptures that I have made and dressed. And goodness knows what they get up to in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping. But the rule is when I get up in the morning and I come downstairs, they have to be back where they belong, and usually they are. I have Barbie chandelier, a red one over here and a golden one over there. Those are the first chandeliers I ever made. I became obsessed with it, but eventually that passed. Do I have a favorite mannequin? I'm afraid to say. I'm standing just among them. How can I pick a favorite? I'll hurt the other's feelings. I can't say which one is best. I love them all. Every single one of them, the little ones, the big ones, the ones that have lower bodies, the ones that don't. I love them all. Please don't make me pick a favorite. I love you all, darlings. You're all the same to me. You're all wonderful. But I do have something incredibly exciting to me right over here. They're the goddess phones. I have them all over the house. And these are when things get really, really bad. You can call a goddess and ask for help. Hello, may I speak with a goddess, please? And usually there's a goddess right there to talk to you. And I have many goddess phones just in case one doesn't answer. And here they are. This one has actual goddesses on the push buttons. Look at this one. This has all kinds of ancient goddesses. Hello, who's there? Who's there? I'll talk to you later. We're being filmed now. I'll talk to you in a little while. And here is the operator. And sometimes when there's a lot of kerfuffle and problem in the world, the goddesses are so busy they can't answer at once. So she says, hello, your call is very important to us. Please hold on. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. So that's her job. And then I have various goddess phone neck shrines all over the place, which I do wear outside in the real world. So the goddess phones are incredibly important to me. And I have more sculptures here, which are kind of like anthropomorphic memory jugs, but they are sculptures. And they're about found objects, they're about color, and they all tell a story. This one is about one's family tree. We have two over here with their hands out. They are the slap sisters. We have to keep them a little bit separated because they keep slapping each other. There's a lot of sibling rivalry there. So I'm so happy. I'm so happy here. This painting in the middle was painted by Ella Guru, who is a very, very, very wonderful artist, and I'm very lucky that she's a good friend of mine. And that's my friend Anne-Sophie Koshlevu and I. On a day, we were talking on the goddess phone, and we were playing with our Barbies, because we both use Barbies in our work. So that's a very, very, very precious painting. And then all the paintings around it are done by me, painted on wood with found objects and glitter and buttons glued onto them. So they are embellished paintings. And I use either acrylics or sometimes I use nail varnish. So yes, this is a wonderful room. I am a secular person. I don't have a formal religion. And a friend of mine, who ran a gallery, once said, "Sue, you have your own religion." And I suppose I do. I have my own idea of what's what. No, I don't dabble in witchcraft. I'm not a witch. I'm just a crazy old lady who likes to make things. That's what I am. That's probably a kind of witchcraft. But it's not, I'm not consciously a witch. But thank you for asking. You're asking me questions nobody else ever asked. I love it. I love it. It's not the same old, same old. Yes, I know what I like. I like what I like. And some rooms, I think here, I have a little turquoise. Upstairs, I have a little turquoise. So I like red, yellow, and turquoise, and also fuchsia. So in the kitchen, I have a little fuchsia. So yes, but it's mainly red and yellow. Those are the two colors I love, and I love together. And yellow is the color of happiness. Red is the color of life and passion. And turquoise just makes everything pop. And fuchsia is just very pretty. So yeah, I mix up my colors. I mix up my colors. And yes, I am aware of what I'm doing with my colors because I know what I love and I know what I think goes together. Maybe nobody else agrees with me, but I don't care. When I left, I graduated from university, and as you would say in America, college here is something different, university, graduated from university, and I had my own apartment, a one-bedroom. Those were back in the days, it cost $75 a month in Washington Heights. And we were allowed to paint. If the landlord was going to paint, they were going to raise the rent a little bit. We said, no, we're going to paint it ourselves. So I painted red and yellow and all the colors. At last, I had my own place. I could live the way I wanted to live. And I was very proud of it. A lot of color, a lot of color. All my life, I've loved color. So I invited my mother over to lunch. I was so proud of what I had done. And she looked around over here, and she looked around over there, and she sniffed. You'll outgrow it. Well, hey, Ma. All these years later, I'm no longer in my 20s, I'm in my 80s. It only got worse, ever so much more so. So I'm surrounded by color, I'm surrounded by art. That's the way I feel comfortable. That is my safety. That is my nest. So yeah. It's wonderful being here, absolutely wonderful. I used to write cookbooks for a living, and I wrote 27 of them, along with countless food articles for newspapers and magazines and so on. So one of my cookbooks, I wish I could remember her name. Her name is probably inside the handbag. I gave her one of my cookbooks, and she made a handbag out of it, an art handbag. So yes, this just shows the transition of life. And I stopped writing cookbooks and cooking at the age of 58. And since then, I've been an artist. And also I do fashion because I do the kimonas and the neck pieces. So my message is, it's never too late. It's never, ever too late. Until you actually drop dead, life is open to you. Even if you're a little bit infirm. And at 83, yes, I'm a little bit infirm, of course I am. I'm in pretty good shape, but still, there are things that could improve. But yes, it's never too late. So from writing cookbooks to becoming a really crazy and prolific artist, it happens, and it's a great thing. You never know when a window is going to open just out of sight. Pay attention, feel that breeze, see the light, and go through the window to see what's going to happen. So from cookbooks to art. Cooking used to be I don't do things by halves. So when I was a cook and a cookbook writer, I was very, very obsessive about it. And that was obviously the center of my life. Now it's art, art, art everywhere. Even in the kitchen, I don't have as much space to cook as I used to have because there's a lot of stuff there. Tchotchkes and art and sculptures. But we're going to go into the kitchen and you'll get an idea of what it's like where I cook when I do cook. I don't cook as much as I used to, but I still do cook. So come with me. We're going to the kitchen. Because I was born with a rainbow in my head. My parents were not particularly colorful in the habitat where I grew up. In fact, not at all. But I always had a lust, a deep appetite for color. And I mean really bright, vulgar, primary colors in your face and in my face too. I don't know where that came from. And I'll never forget the first day of kindergarten in Washington Heights in New York. And the teacher brought out this huge battered box of Crayola crayons. Obviously, a class or two had used it before us, but still it was there in all its glory. 64 colors in one box. 64 colors. I can still smell it. I've got a box upstairs, and I go and I sniff it every once in a while for the joy of it. I can remember the smell of it. I can remember the waxy feel of it as you smear it across the paper. I think I even remember the taste of it because I think we all ate our crayons a little bit back then when we were 5 years old. So that was a revelation. I still love Crayolas. I adore them. In fact, I wrote a poem about it, and it was made into a music video, which is available on YouTube, Color Me Crazy, because I'm crazy about color. And then I did spend a lot of time, because I grew up in New York, wandering around the museums. And even though I was very, very young, my parents used to drag us along to the museums. It had such a big impact on me. And I remember Marisol, the sculptor who worked on wood. I remember Niki de Saint Phalle. I think in my early 20s I saw Niki de Saint Phalle. I went to MoMA. And if you know Niki de Saint Phalle, she makes these huge nanas, these huge, colorful female creatures that would be hanging from the ceiling. That entered my mind and it never went away. And also ethnic art, the art of Mexico, the art of India. All this has so much deep meaning to me. And when I was a kid at MoMA, I saw the two Rousseaus, Henri Rousseau, The Sleeping Gypsy, and it's called Jadwiga's Dream, the naked lady reclining on a velvet couch in the jungle. I swear I lived in those paintings. They spoke to me. Most important paintings in my life then and now. I can't tell you how important they were to me. So yes, and then of course now I have wonderful friends, Ella Guru and many other wonderful artists, and they inspire me every day. I spent time in Mexico in the early 80s. Boing, that gets in your head like nothing else. That place is about color and about folk art. Unforgettable, absolutely unforgettable. So I think the truth is the whole world inspires me. Sometimes I'll just go out for a little walk on a color safari, and the greengrocers with all their fruit and veg outside, and the street art, the good street art, and then just the tagging. It's all about color. It's all about freedom, freedom of art. All of these things inspire me. And the reason I dress the way I do is because when I go out, I have all this color and all this inspiration all around me inside. I don't want to leave it behind. I can't bear to leave it behind. So I wear it around my neck, I wear it on my fingers and my arms, and I wear it on my back. I bring the color and art out into the street. I am a walking collage, a walking art gallery. And because people are so dull. They wear beige, they wear gray. I want color in their face. I want them to see what life can be like. My all-time favorite color is red. That is my go-to color. But the thing about red, first of all, it's the color of life. It's the color of passion. It's the color of blood. It is a fantastic color. But It's the contrast. I love red and yellow. I love red and turquoise. I love red and purple. I'm getting overexcited just talking about it. Red goes with everything. Red goes with orange. I like clashing. I like complementary. I like red with everything. And I use a lot of color in my food. So we have a lot of red, a lot of yellow, maybe a little bit of green. Sometimes something really delicious is kind of beige, but I dress it up with colorful vegetables all around. So when we eat, it's also very colorful. Hummus. We all love hummus, but you got to admit hummus is beige. So with hummus, I have to have, raw carrots and raw peppers in 3 different colors. If there were 6 colors of peppers, I would use them. We dress everything up. It has to be delicious, and it also has to be colorful. So, color is my life. I am the queen of color. Here is the kitchen. There's a lot of stuff in the kitchen, but I've got Mexican oilcloth because they're wonderful color and very easy to clean. I also, when I don't feel like going out to the studio, which is in the backyard, and the weather is bad, I paint on this table as well. But this is where we eat. I even have a goddess phone on the table. It's actually a cookie tin, but that's okay. It's also cookie tin and goddess phone, so we have that over there. And I have some wonderful dishes, all art dishes and little pieces I've made, plus some of my seasoning. And sometimes I do have room to feed people, but I do simple cooking because everything is so, I'm not going to use the word cluttered. There's just a lot of art. Every single room is an art gallery of sorts. This is a portrait of my friend Jillian Horsup, who deals in vintage jewelry, and there's some wonderful pieces on here. And she specializes in the deco area, so she is my deco diva. I love that. This is done by a late friend named Phil Wildman. Wild by name, wild by nature. Only used what Philip Guston called crap off the street. Cots, crap off the street. So this is just made from found objects, real found objects. And this reminds me of him, so I'm very happy to have that here. I have some of my sculptures up there. Where am I going to cook? Too much art. So I have this little piece right here, and I can put a cutting board there and do a little prep. I do have a toaster, and I have a sandwich toaster, and I have a very, very nice stove, and I have all these other things around here, found paintings, found really kind of gross, but I love them. They're so good. And on the doors, on the cupboard doors, I have paintings that I did with my collaborator, John William. I have one there, and I have some here too. And this is the junk food goddess. I actually just posted her on my Instagram. This is my work, Junk Food Goddess. And we have a mermaid. We have the cappuccino, the goddess of cappuccino. And we have another mermaid over here. And we have some embellished paintings here. We have she has fennel and she has cauliflower. She's a fruit salad woman, and she has aubergine and leaves of lettuce. So and this, I picked this up in a flea market in New York. Look at her, what a find. And she sings a little song. So when I cook, she watches every single thing I do, and usually judges me, but that's okay, I love her anyway. Well, these days I cook fairly simply, and I like home cooking. I love to cook Italian. I do a little Chinese. I do lots of Jewish soul food from my childhood. And I do cook very, very healthy, but I've invented a way to cook healthy where you still get deep, deep, deep flavor. I wrote several books about this, and they all became bestsellers. So yeah, I have ways of cooking. And the other day I had some friends over, and she said, "These are the second best potatoes I've ever had in my life." I said, "Second best?" What? So the first best she had in Jordan, they cooked them in the sand with a fire. It was smoky. So I said, okay, I will accept second best to that. But my potatoes are pretty good, let me tell you, honey. So I cook simply, but I cook with deep, deep, deep flavor. Semi-vegetarian. It's stupid to say you're a vegetarian if you eat meat. But most of the time it's vegetarian, maybe a little smoked salmon, and then very occasionally I'll cook meat. I've stopped cooking chicken. I can't deal with the chicken situation. So yes, but I love vegetables and I love grains. And I love dessert. Oh, I'm a bad, bad woman. I love dessert. Ice cream, cookies. Yes. Life is short. Enjoy yourself. This one, and I had somebody do it for me because I can't do electrical stuff, but I designed it. It's a bicycle wheel, and all the female sheroes, superheroines that I could find are on it, from Uhura to, of course, Superwoman, and others that I don't even know their names, but all the superwomen I could find, and they help me live my life, and they help me cook, and they help me with everything. So this is really a fun, fun, fun piece. And they're looking down on the kitchen, and they're blessing us all. They're all sizes, all shapes, all colors. They are the females who keep us going. We have the other one. It was a fan, so it could actually spin around, but I found that when I'm in the kitchen, it made me really dizzy, so I disconnected the fan. So these are arms to embrace us as we eat our lunch or dinner, and it's just each arm is bedecked with old bangles. Oh, well, everybody has magnets, don't they? It's great. Wherever you go, you find a magnet. And it represents places I've been, places friends have been, and they bring me magnets. So I have them on this side. This is Nick Cave, who does the bodysuits. I got those in MoMA. Oh, boy, those are good. Nick Cave, not the musician, the artist who makes bodysuits. These are little drawings that somebody I know made. Again, there's Mexican folk art. There are mermaids. My assistant went to Turkey, and she brought me a whole bottle full of evil eye protectors. I have resisted I really want to put it on a neck shrine. I've resisted that, but eventually it will go on a neck shrine. So that's very special. So yeah, let's put it back properly so it doesn't fall down. Okay, and then on the other side of the fridge, I have more. And it's a lot of Mexican folk art. It's here. My favorite, because my husband and I, and a lot of people I know, I won't say we're addicted to coffee, but I will say we love coffee very, very much. So this one is drink coffee, do things faster with more energy. Yes, do stupid things faster with more energy. And my carbon footprint is bigger than yours. Just fun stuff, a lot of fun stuff from all over. The reason I would fill this also with magnets, but magnets don't stick to this. Damn it. What were they thinking when they designed it? So we don't have, but on the sides we have plenty of magnets. These are all Barbies that I have altered and embellished. And they're all going to the afterlife because Barbies are all dead and discarded. Well, I think since the Barbie movie, things have changed a little bit. But these are all old discarded Barbies that were in very bad shape. I fixed them up. They're going to the afterlife to become superheroines and goddesses. So, and I have them in a Scandinavian bowl. And the platter is a British vintage, very fine potter. So, yeah, that's why I'd rather have this than room to cook. I don't need counter space. I need goddesses. I need voodoo Barbies. I need art. I can have a little tiny space to do my prep as long as I have this. So on the wall next to you, on this side, in the middle, I'm always painting and sculpting Josephine Baker. So there is Josephine Baker. She famously danced with bananas, half naked, at the Folies Bergère, and that made her a superstar. So there she is dancing with bananas. She didn't have a banana on her head, but I put a banana on her head, and that is in homage. I have lots of paintings and various things I've done, homage to Josephine. And above that is a drawing I did years ago, just above banana. And that's my family. That is I and my husband and my son and the dog we had at that time. He died of very old age. And underneath, that's my friend Joe Gagliano. It's sort of me as Wonder Woman. So yeah, things that I love. Things that are about people I love and things that I love. Home have a soul. Home should have a soul, and it should have your soul and the soul of your family and the people you love. And the way you do that is to avoid minimalism, to avoid neutrals, to have your own personality in it. And that means there can be a little bit of a mess. There can be some colorful, this is if you have young kids, some colorful toys, a little Lego on the floor. If your kids are all grown up, art, pictures, color, a little bit of mess, a little bit of clutter. Make it, you have to dust, you have to keep it clean. It's hard to have soul when your house is filthy. And I have wonderful helpers to help me keep it clean. So, yes, don't go overboard with the minimalism. There is a disease in this world right now for minimalism. Don't do it. Forget about the neutrals. Do it the way you really want to do it, not the way people say to do it. The color du jour these days, I think, is gray. Gray floor, gray kitchen, gray this, gray that. Oh my God, I've got a headache. Don't do that. Dress it up, color it up, things you love, and your house will have a soul. We're about to enter my secret hideaway. It is my most beloved and important space. It's in my back garden, and it may look like an ordinary shed, but it is not. So follow me into my back garden. Come with me. This is my museum. This is the inside of my brain. This is where I spend an hour at the end of every day just bathing in the glory. I've got neck shrines. I've got embellished paintings. I've got sculptures. I've got some of my folk art collections. I've got heads on stands, wonderful. You know what they are? The hair salon heads. They save them for me after they've used them and can't use them anymore. What can I say? I have mannequins. I have drawings. I have goddesses. I have goddess phones because there are goddess phones everywhere. So there are goddess phones down here, goddess phones here, goddess phones here. All my work, obviously. I've got a Mexican mermaid hanging from the ceiling. She takes care of me. She takes care of everything. At night, she just makes sure everybody behaves. I've got my wonderful throne. This is a Nigerian beadwork chair and a banner from Haiti on the back. So when I'm sitting here, I am part of the decoration of the museum. So this is very, very special for me. We don't have food and drink in here, that would be wrong, but I do have people come and just stay here and we talk. The conversation when we're sitting in this shed is absolutely amazing. This is a vintage piece from Ned Cartledge. He's long dead because it's a very old piece. He used to carve out of big chunks of wood watermelon. He also did wonderful carved political pieces. And that's from the days when I lived in Atlanta. He lived and worked in Atlanta. So that is a precious old piece of mine. Actually, I found it, I used to go, when I was in New York, I used to go to New York several times a year. And I bought a lot of stuff, including the chair I'm sitting in, from the traders at the Chelsea weekend flea market. And there are some really, really good African traders there. And they had the mermaid. And we could not figure out, it's not African. I think it's probably Mexican. Does it go over your head? Does it go around your neck? Does it go around your waist? A very confusing piece. And my friend Dina Lior, who has a Mexican folk art place in New York, said she thinks it's from Guerrero in Mexico, but we don't know for sure. So I sourced it in New York. I got a little advice from some people in New York, but we don't really know the actual origin of it. And we all love her very much, and we talk to her, and she takes care of us. This is an old table I found in a junk shop in the East End of London, and I just put my little messages on it. Leave your mark on the world. Cultivate character. Can't even read this one anymore. But it's all about kindness and making a difference in the world, painted with acrylic on the table. I think somewhere it says, age gracefully. I'm doing the best I can. So it has these little mottos of mine on it. Well, I just wanted I had a guy who built it for me who really understood the colors. He was very good. I wanted different colors everywhere. So I have orange, I have fuchsia. What's behind me? I have turquoise. And of course, with the art, there are touches of every kind of color you can imagine. So I can't have the walls painted all one color. What? That's crazy. No, you have to have different colors on each wall. So that's what I've done. There's turquoise behind me. I have a system that was invented by a Mexican friend of mine who helped me with my studio flat in New York because I had so many neck shrines. How are we going to hang it? So she figured out to put a pole, and we have hooks on the pole, and we have the neck shrines hanging from the hooks. And there's always room for another one. And when I want to wear a particular one, I come in, I take it down, I put it around my neck. When I'm finished, I come back and I put it back. And this way we can see them. They look amazing. They don't have to be hidden away. And it makes quite an exhibition, doesn't it? It's just fantastic. I love the Goddess Phone collections. I have a little collection of folk art made from bottle caps. Here, 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 here. I love that collection. I can't pick out one, so say I love that collection. Also, this museum comes complete with a kitchen because I curated a show called Casa Chromatic, Colorful House. And we had to have a kitchen in the Casa Chromatic. So I built, with my friend John William, we built a kitchen. So the kitchen is here. We have a mermaid swimming in the sink. We have an enormous clove of garlic. We have bathing beauties eating hot dogs. Everything you can imagine in a kitchen, including Wonder Woman, who's really messed up her ice cream. I would have to say, actually, if I had to pick one piece, I would pick that because that's very special, really, really special. But then again, I love everything in here. I love my lamps made out of beauty salon heads. Look at them, patiently lighting up the shed, the museum shed. How can I pick one thing? I love it all. It is an installation, and I love every bit of it. I curated a show called Epiphanies, and it's about people who have come into art by the back door unexpectedly, have no training, but make wonderful things, essentially outsider artists. So this piece was done by my friend John William. I adore his work. I adore him. We work together quite often, but he made this all by himself. It's Kali, the many-armed goddess. She has a necklace of heads, as Kali always does, and she it's a cockamamie piece. It's a crazy piece, and it's turquoise, and I love it very much because I love him very much, and it's a fantastic piece. So when we were getting ready to bring it to the gallery, we decided to have a little photo shoot. We brought it to the bus stop on the main road, and we had her sitting on the bench at the bus stop waiting with all her arms to wave the bus. And because Kali is very, very old, she even had a bus pass so she didn't have to pay for the bus. We actually didn't bring her on the bus. We took her in a car, but it made a great picture. And then she was in the exhibition for quite a long time. So yes, I would say that. But then again, there's my Aztec neck shrine. There is my mannequin dressed in a Safo flags. Aha, wait a minute. There's my embellished painting right here. If you can capture it, it says, "Don't wear beige, it might kill you." That's a very important piece. And that's a very important message. And in the summer and even in the early fall, it bursts with color and blooms. Of course, now when we're filming this garden, it is essentially the beginning of the end of autumn, the beginning of winter. So it is a bit scraggly. But you understand, anybody who has a garden and does gardening understands. And my garden isn't just about the flowers and the plants and the shrubs. It's about my collection. Mostly found objects, mostly what we call airport art, not fine tribal art, not fine ethnic art, just things that you might pick up in the airport on the way from visiting a country. Very, very kitsch, very, very amusing. So I have those decorating my work shed. That's my studio in there. And I have, just pan around, I have a lot of really fun stuff. I like stuff you walk out and you smile. Home means a place. You know, Robert Frost wrote a poem about that, which I first read when I was a teenager. And I think he said, home is the place where they have to take you in. When you come back, they have to take you in. Okay, but home is about the people you love, family, friends, feeding people, very, very important, feeding people, and surrounding yourself with things that have meaning as far as the people you love and yourself. And you walk in that door and you're in your own planet. Real life, with all its problems, all its Sturm und Drang, is on the other side of the door. You open up the door to your flat or house. It's you, it's your planet, and that is home. So make sure you keep it your planet. Not the gray planet, not the beige planet, not the minimalist planet, your planet. And you walk in and you know, this is me. That's home.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.